It's Karen Hudson. I just need to take a breath, I think. Maybe you need to just take a breath. So last week I talked to you about how I do a reflection of my year in December. And I really take the whole month to do that. And this year has been quite intense. Lost my mother, basically lost my uncle as I knew him. He's deep diving in dementia. My sister is taking guardianship of my other two grandchildren. I already have permanent guardianship of my boy Jack. And today actually marks, yesterday and today marks the weekend of 9 years ago when I walked into a safe house with him. And last night I had Jack on my shoulder, on my chest as we hold our children when they're sleeping. And the 2.5-year-old, I was holding his hand in his toddler bed next to my bed. And I sat there and I was wide awake looking at the ceiling, having a very deep conversation with God. And I said, wow, I need to share. I need to share this. And here's the question that kept coming up over and over and over for me. What are you committed to? And you might say, oh, I'm committed to my husband, I'm committed to my job, I'm committed. Don't take this lightly. I really want to know, what are you committed to? What are you willing to stand strong for, hold boundaries for, not budge for, lose other things for, potentially relationships, potentially jobs, friends, whatever that might be. I'm going to say, what are you committed to? One of my business coaches and a good dear friend and mentor, both of them, husband and wife, would say, what do you stand for? What's your stand? What do you really stand for? So as I was having this deep conversation with God last night, sobbing like a baby, quietly, so neither of the boys woke up, I realized really what I stood for. And I've known it and I've talked about it, but I don't know that I had felt it in this magnitude. I stand for breaking the chains that have bound 5+ generations in my family. I stand for stopping that inner critic and pleasing everybody else and doing what you think everybody else thinks you should, and really listening to your own drummer. Remember that? Really listening to the song inside, really listening to where you're being guided to go. Now, as I was contemplating and asking many questions of God and reassuring God, I would really take his true message, because you see, I never would have anticipated that I would have been holding one boy on my shoulder and another's hand in the toddler bed next to my bed. That was not foreseen by any means. And life always gives us choices. You've heard me say, every moment you have choice. Literally every second you have choice. So when things come down the pipeline, if you don't know what you're committed to, if you don't know where your lines in the sand are, if you don't know what your deal breakers are, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you're committed to, then how are you going to handle it when it comes? It's like we hear, I live in Portland, Oregon. I live in a little town called Happy Valley, a little suburb. And yes, it's happy. But in Oregon, we on the coast, we have the tsunami practices, we get earthquake practices and preparedness, all kinds of things like that. And so, it's that school of thought that Are you going to get prepared 2 seconds before the event happens and you hear it's coming and you went, oh crap, I had 52 years to prepare for that? Or are you going to actually put the stuff in your car and get the thing to turn off the gas, on the outside so you actually know where it is? And, things like that. Like, are you going to be proactive or reactive? Are you going to live your life by choice or live your life potentially by fear and regret? I can remember a mentor of mine, I'm not going to name names because I had to make a stand, even with my mentors, even most recently with my business coach. But I remember when I first started working with one of my coaches, and they were just sure that the answer for me was that I needed to go dating and find a man. I had to be in a relationship. Like, the last thing in the world I wanted was a relationship with someone else other than me. You see, I'd lived my life for 50 plus years. Living my life for everybody else brings tears to my eyes. Why would I want to just go fill it up with someone else? Why would I just need someone else's needs rather than learning my own? See, when you're committed to everything else, externally of you, you have no clue what you're committed to internally, what your belief system is, where your lines in the sand are. So as I'm reflecting, as I am going through this last couple months, probably 9 months, of course, since my mom died, but I have several businesses and several things that I work on, and I'll tell you the situation. So there was one with a relationship where someone, and this was like a year long, like, you really need to be, and I'm like, I had to trust myself. That was the last thing. Because was going and finding a relationship going to make me happy? No, finding myself was going to make me happy. Putting myself first and equal to anybody else's needs was going to be where I was really at. And let me tell you, I've never looked back. I haven't been in a relationship since, in that sense. I'm in like a thrilling relationship with myself for the longest time I can imagine. For 52 years, I was in someone else's world. And I just turned 60. So for 8 years, I think that's quite remarkable, to very little time to just be alone with me and build a relationship with me. Just fast forward, working on a lot of things. I own and run a women's health clinic with my sister. I have a thriving, oil business that and I love supporting my team. And I have a coaching business, and I speak and I write. And I was in the process of working on a project and had a deadline for that. And life happened. And what I really believe is God spoke. I got sick. My uncle took another deep, deep dive into his dementia. And I'm the only one, that can help him. And this situation happened with the other 2 boys all at once within 48 hours. And I could hear the voice of my mentor going, well, this doesn't have to stop you. Just plow through it. And this is the message I want to give to you guys. If you know what you're committed to, if you know what you're really committed to, then sometimes it's not those things. And sometimes you have to say, whoa, Nellie, you know what? These things are here, and this is what I have energy for. And if I'm choosing to be present in my life and really give what I have, then I have to do these, and these things are going to wait. And it isn't about pleasing anybody else. It isn't about making anybody else's deadlines. It isn't about pleasing you or you or you or anybody else. It's about knowing inside my own body, my soul, my mind, my heart, what is my truth in my present right now, and what do I need to be committed to for me? So I'm going to ask you, is this about Christmas? Yes, I'm doing a little shopping for the boys. But I really think it's a time of gratitude, a time of reflection. And I want to ask you, what are you committed to? Who are you inside? Where's your lines in the sand? Will you know how to take care of yourself when the tsunami comes? or even just a 6 earthquake. Are you prepared? Do you know the lay of the land? Do you know your exit routes? I'm here to help. I'm here to start the conversation. It's not going to be the last time I talk about this, but it's something I really wanted to speak to you from my heart about. Just in my home, being me, coming to you, going, what are you committed to? Let's find out. Talk to you guys later.